Okay, so very quickly, just before the gameplay actually starts, let me know in the comment section, should I go for 60 FPS with a lower actual gameplay quality, or keep the quality as is right now and remain at 30 FPS? I'm curious to know what you guys think. Leave me comments in the comment section below, and I'll decide what to do based off your feedback. So yeah, just thought I'd get your opinions on that there, guys, before I actually do anything. So yeah, on to the actual gameplay for this replay. Hello everybody, this is DeanoGTO, and today we are showing off the E-75. So, I don't play this tank very often, but when I do, I fucking love it. So, E-75, one of the tanks that is aged best in this game. This tank has barely noticed any power creep whatsoever. Like, this thing just doesn't care about what new tank you're in, it can take it on and it can win. It doesn't care about the buffs to any tanks either, although I should just point out I carry no premium rounds in this tank. I should probably change that when it comes to like dealing with things like the mouse and the buff type 5. I should probably change that. I didn't even realize I didn't carry any until just there now. So yeah, I should probably add a couple to that there, but right now I'm not carrying any. So yeah, that just shows you how confident I am in this thing's ability to pen most tanks, but the game has changed a wee bit since I was really playing this thing a lot, so I should probably change that. But yeah. Something I just want to talk about just quickly before we actually get into the fighting is this thing's armor in comparison to the E100. So, most important thing, the turret in comparison to the E100. About 60% of this thing's front turret is covered by the mallet. The E100, it's about 30%. The E100 does have about a sloped turret, and also has overall probably the more effective turret. But the thing with the E100 turret is because it's so wide and it's just so massive, heat rounds are pretty much guaranteed to pen every time they hit the turret face. With this thing here though, because of the way the turret is shaped, it has these sloped areas here, here, and here. If heat rounds hit any of those areas, they're going to bounce and they're not going to pen. Probably about 80 or 90% of the time, they're not going to pen. The only area that can actually pen is this area here, and this is actually a very small area in relation to like the overall profile of the turret. I mean, the mantlet covers up a pretty large area that there, so heat rounds in general are not going to have a good time when it comes to fighting this tank. Like AP rounds, I have had AP rounds pen through here, but I've never had a heat round pen through here. So yeah, that's just something I feel like I should point out. The turret on the E-75, I would say, it's overall probably more effective in the current place of the game, if that makes sense. So yeah, and then we go into the hull. The hull upper front plate is extremely well angled and it's 160mm thick, which is probably, it's not going to be as thick as the E100, but it's probably as effective overall, because honestly, the E100's upper front plate is so strong that it doesn't even matter after it's 160mm. Like it's the E100's upper front plate is 200mm. It doesn't need to be 200mm. That could be 160, and it would probably be just as impenetrable. Still, no one would shoot it. So having the extra 40mm of thickness means nothing. Like if it had been 200mm lower front plate for the E100 and 150 upper front plate, I would say that thing would probably have some of the strongest armor at tier 10. It still does, but I would say it would probably rival in the miles if the two armor amounts were swapped, because the upper front plate is so well sloped anyway that doesn't really matter. But yeah, and then we get to the side armor. Side armor is extremely strong, 120mm, and that's really powerful. And the turret placement is pretty much perfect for side scraping. So yeah, overall very good package. And overall, I would say this thing is probably the more usable, more reliable tank than the E100. So yeah, that was just a quick we run through of what the E-75 is like. So yeah, first shot of the game is going to be versus this IS-6B. It's kind of rare to see those things. No one bought one. Like, seeing one of those is actually really rare. 475 damage, a low roll, but not much of a low roll, so not gonna complain. Took nearly a third of his health off in one shot, so you can never complain about that. So yeah, and then next shot is going to be versus the WZ-111, and yeah, I think I put that down to the reduced aiming time for this tank that happened a couple of patches ago. So I think it was whenever the Maujin and all were introduced into the game, and yeah, just letting the team know WZ-111 using 100mm. I think whenever the Majin and all were all added to the game, I think they reduced the aiming time on this tank to make sure that it could compete with the Majin. I keep changing the way I say that tank's name because I'm really not sure how to pronounce it. I always forget. So yeah, IS-3 is going to go head to head with this guy, but he actually, I've just realised that IS-3 is using the 175 pen gun. That's the D25T. That is not the BL9. Did not notice that until just there now. So that explains why he's being a bit more passive than an IS-3 normally would be. So yeah, I'm a taller tank than him, and I also have a very high pen gun. So his upper front plate is nothing to me because, well, I have the higher tank. Which means I can aim down on his lower front plate, which pretty much makes the angling ineffective. So yeah, that's a WZ-111-14 dealt with. I did pretty much all of his health pool of damage in terms of damage, except for one shot, I think. So yeah, that was pretty nice trade for me, because I took no damage in that exchange. So yeah, the reason I chose to shoot the Scorpion instead of the T10, which may seem counterintuitive to you, considering the T10 is actually a tier 9, which means you would get more XP for shooting it. Then it may seem counterintuitive that I shot the Scorpion instead. But if you look at the health bar for the T10, that's a 1700 health T10. That's the stock turret. So chances are he is using the BL9 gun. And you're going to see later that I am right. He is using the BL9 gun, and you can tell because he's doing 390 alpha per shot and not 440. So yeah, it's always useful to know the exact amount of health that the enemy tank you're dealing with has, so you can get some kind of general idea if it is fully upgraded or not. That thing can mount the top gun with the stock turret, but the chances are he's probably going to be using the stock gun or the grinding gun. So yeah, that was basically my bet in that scenario. So Scorpion still has 47 health. I'm going to try and get rid of him because he is on low enough health. I don't want that gun still in the game. So yeah, at this current point we are 3-1 winning in this game. So T26 E5 and Type 4 are both pushing up. IS-3 is going to continue hanging back. Now, Lova, if you know about the weak points in Lova, you know shooting below the mantlet is actually a weak point. That was kind of an unlucky shot, but it's also kind of not unlucky because that guy was using his gun depression, and that meant that it was going to be pretty much impossible for me to hit that reliably in pen. So yeah, I'm going to take 2 hits from the Lova here just to try and make sure that this guy dies relatively quickly. T26 E5 puts another shot into him and falls back. I was hoping the T26 E5 would kind of just sit there and just try and make sure that guy died, but you just saw T26 E5 fire another shot there and bounced off. So that was unfortunate, and I am going to notice the engine's damage because my tank's moving considerably slower than it normally would be. Can't be able to focus on the Type 4. I'm focusing on Type 4. T-34-3 puts a heat round in him inside my turret. And that shot there, I think that shot was mainly because I'm below his tank. Wow, it looks weird. I'm below his tank and aiming up into an area which is sloped already. So which basically made it so that I physically couldn't pin his turret. So yeah, that was kind of a dumb shot to take actually, looking back at it. But yeah, T10 still alive. T26C5 does deal with him. At this point I actually hadn't realised this Type 4 was aiming at me. And yeah, he does some significant damage to me. He nearly kills me, and something I just feel like I should point out. That's the 150. That's not the 14 centimeter, that's the 150. You can tell because it has this like little ring here. The 14 centimeter is just a giant pipe out the front of the turret. It has no like break in it at all. So yeah, something I should just point out. That was a standard HE round from that gun. If he had been using the premium HE round that gun can use, he would have killed me because that gun just that round just does an extra 300 damage for no disadvantage other than cost. So yeah, just something that you should realize about that gun, the way it's set up. And just before I shot that guy took a 400 alpha hit from somebody, and that meant that I was able to get the kill shot on him. So now I'm on 4 kills, and the Udes is going to fall back out of the way so that I can't shoot him anymore. The Scorpion is sitting over there, but he dies. And then T-34-3 is pointing his gun at me, and I immediately fall back because I know that guy is firing premium rounds. Kill off the Udes 03 because he's there, I may as well. And that's going to be shooting at me for a while. T-34-3 does move forward. Type 4 only did 180 damage to him somehow. I'm going to put a shot into this T-34-3 here now, 500 damage. But the guy, I did do some critical damage to the guy, and the guy is actually going to completely ignore this Type 4. And he's going to completely focus on me. Type 4 tracks him, and you have to admit, it's always satisfying when somebody using a heat round at point blank range fucks up. There's almost nothing in this game more satisfying than that. Whenever you're in a heavily armored tank and somebody's using their 2 key to basically have more skill, yeah, there's nothing more. There's just like nothing more just satisfying than that. And that guy hit me there. That actually counts as my side armor, I would say. If it had been a little inch further on here, that would have killed me. But because it hit my side armor technically, because that's so well sloped in that position against him, yeah, he bounced, and that is unbelievably satisfying. That's just like, you're just like, you can't help but just have a little laugh to yourself whenever shit like that happens. You're just like, yes, you fuck, fuck you. And it's just unbelievably satisfying when somebody firing a heat round, just to completely make your armor irrelevant, just kind of fucks up. It's just so it's awesome. But yeah, that's pretty much the game there. Well, as you can see, because the entire enemy team is dead. But yeah, we're gonna go on to the push game stats. But I should just point out the watt replay. It will be a watt replay as display of the replay results, because I forgot to take screenshots after this game, annoyingly, so that means I don't actually have the guard screenshots, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, so I'll get into anything else I really have to say after I have gone over the post game stats. So yeah, back in a minute, and we're going to go on to the post game stats here now. Okay, so we're on to the post game stats. This game was worth a high caliber. Top Gun, and it was actually worth an ace tanker, which was pretty nice. 2488 XP, that's 1244 doubled for the first win of the day, so pretty happy with that. Top of the team in terms of XP and damage, and I got 6 kills. Top of the enemy team was actually Lova that did some serious damage to me. So, yeah, overall, and I should just point out, in terms of my accuracy, I was pretty close range that entire game. But 14 hits, 12 penetrations out of 14 shots fired. That's a pretty solid ratio, and I didn't actually get a steel wall in that game. I was 1 shot received off getting a steel wall, so that sucks a little bit, but yeah, what can you do? So yeah, that was overall a pretty damn solid game in my opinion, and it really kind of shows you just like the kind of power the E-75 still has in the game, and like just how well this tank has actually aged. Because a lot of people think this tank, like, people still respect this tank, but a lot of people don't realize why this tank was so heavily respected back in the day. Like, people genuinely feared these tanks back in the day. Like, it's not like something like the M103, where the M103 has lost power massively as time has gone on in the game. Like, the M103 is a bit of a joke these days in comparison to what it was back in the day. Like, I used to really, really fear M103s because the 400 alpha consistent 120mm gun. But these days, the M103 is a joke. I mean, why would you fear the M103 when, like, if you have a choice between fighting an M103 or Conqueror, you're going to fight the M103 because you have a bigger chance of winning because the M103 is just easier to kill, and it's not going to just annihilate you with its gun, because the gun these days, in comparison to a lot of the other tier 9s in the game, is kind of shit, if I'm totally honest. But yeah, we're not talking about the M103, we're talking about E-75. So E-75 in comparison to the other three, in comparison to the other two German Tier 9 heavies, I would say this thing's probably still the best because it's double the speed of the Mouse Gen, and yeah, that's a pretty substantial difference. And I would say overall the armor is probably more effective, which sounds weird to say, but I think it probably is because the turret, 250mm thick, and the actual turret weak point, the cupola is way smaller than the mouse chins, and the mouse chin's weak point actually gets weaker whenever you angle it to the side, because I think it's like 200mm on the side, or 250 on, or 240 or something like that there when it's frontally towards you. So yeah, the mouse chin's kind of weird in that regard. And the VKB is pretty solid, pretty strong tank, but it's just not very quick. It's not very flexible. It can't really react to situations very quickly, and it's just slower than the E-75 as well. So E-75, I'd still say is just overall just the king of Tier 9 heavies. It's just such a solid, just well-rounded. Like, and this tank is aged better than any other tank I can think of in the game. Like, it's just so goddamn good. But yeah, let me know what you think of the E-75 along with the little snippet I add, or not snippet, the little thing I add to the start of the actual video about 30 and 60 FPS question. Let me know. Let me also know what you think of the E-75. I think it's probably still one of the best Tier 9s in the game, and yeah, it's definitely a tank that still deserves respect. It's not one of those tanks that's been power creeped and it's just a joke, like the M103. The M103 used to be really, really like a tank you really had to take seriously and you couldn't fuck around when you're fighting it. But these days the M103 is a joke, if I'm totally honest. It's just kind of like, yeah, you used to be a tank that I would fear, but these days I really don't care when I'm against an M103 because M103 is just not that strong of a tank anymore. But yeah, as I said, leave some feedback in the comment section below and let me know your opinions on the E-75. So yeah, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.